So, I saw the Amazing Digital Circus pilot. Spoiler alert, I loved it. And, well, if you can guess by the duration of this video, I have quite a bit to say about it. A quick disclaimer before I get into this, though. If you're a returning subscriber of mine, you might find that this video is more disorganized than my others. Call it hyper-focused slop, if you will. It's my stream of consciousness edited together as quickly as possible, posted while the pilot is still fresh on everyone's minds. With that out of the way, I'd like to start with some character details I noticed. First is Pomni. Pomni is the one who actually got me to watch the pilot. I didn't know what I was getting into. All I knew is that I wanted to see what was done with this amazing design. The first interesting thing I noticed might be a bit of a stretch, as it comes from the subtitles. When Pomni pukes, the subtitles read Pomni retching. But at this point in the story, Pomni is yet to choose her new name. Is this a coincidence, or was her name known in advance? I probably won't ever truly know, but I thought it fascinating anyway. Secondly, I looked her up yesterday in order to get character images, only to be led to her article on the SMG4 wiki. The trivia section notes that Pomni means remember in Russian. While it's written differently in the Cyrillic alphabet, and it has an accentuated T at the end,
Помнить.
it is the same sound. Next is Kinger, who is based off the king piece in chess. When touring the dormitory-style area with Ragatha, Pomni, and Jax, we notice a queen character door, but with a red X through her face. These crossed-out portraits kind of remind me of something, now that I'm thinking about it. Anyway, what I'd like to touch upon here is less about Kinger himself, and more about the roles of the king and queen pieces in chess. In chess, the goal of the game is to capture your opponent's king. Your queen is one of your last lines of defense in protecting the king, and she's a pretty good one at that, able to move far greater distances than other pieces. The king himself, however, is slow. His movements are very limited, and without a queen, pawns, knights, and bishops to protect him, he is extremely vulnerable. Our friend Kinger here seems to be rather vulnerable among the cast, being easy to trick and tease. Would he be less anxious if his queen were still with him? It's also been confirmed that he's been here the longest out of the current gang, which might also have something to do with it. Lastly, I'd like to touch on Caine. I initially thought his name derived from the fact he's carrying a cane around, but in the pilot we can see the C&A logo around the 21-minute mark. And what's an A to a Caine? Abel, most likely, from the Bible story. The long and the short of the Bible story is that Caine kills Abel because God likes Abel's offering more than Caine's. It's an act of jealousy, and it's the first murder known to man. Caine is then punished to live his life in a restless fashion as a wanderer, eternally unfulfilled. Well, we see no Abel in the show, and Caine doesn't seem to do much besides be a ringleader, so I would say that the theory that he's based on the Bible story still currently works. Another inspiration, this one confirmed to have an influence on the work by show creator Gooseworks, is the horror story I Have No Mouth and I Must Scream by Harlan Ellison. The story is about the last 5 humans remaining on Earth, trapped in a digital hellscape by an AI known as Allied Master Computer, or AM for short. AM seeks to relentlessly torture his victims for all eternity. This is because they gave him such great intelligence, but no outlets to create or use that intelligence on his own. There's a difference between Caine and AM, and that difference comes in how they handle their guests. Caine doesn't seek to torture his victims. He gives them all their own rooms, and he puts them through adventures in which the victims are given their own autonomy. They're not forced to engage with them the way the humans in I Have No Mouth and I Must Scream cannot escape AM's torture. Gooseworks described the story of the Amazing Digital Circus as I Have No Mouth and I Must Scream with an I Spy aesthetic, and I certainly believe that to be a great descriptor. The fate of the humans that have gone mad, the abstractions, are reminiscent of the fate of I Have No Mouth and I Must Scream's protagonist, Ted. Anne is all-powerful, but after facing devastation for the umpteenth time, the characters in I Have No Mouth and I Must Scream discover a loophole. When they attempt to off themselves, Am stops them. But when they take to killing each other, Am is powerless. Ted mercy kills the other remaining humans, who Am cannot revive. And as a result, Am disfigures his body into a soft, fuzzy, worm-like creature with no mouth that cannot scream. Ted no longer has the ability to hurt himself. And as far as we can tell, the same goes for the abstractions. Gooseworks has also claimed to love worm-like creatures in a recent tweet, including a picture of the Gloink Queen. While I don't think the Gloink Queen is representative of Ted's fate, her worm-like appearance may be inspired by it. Another shared aspect between the two works is allusions to Christianity. In I Have No Mouth and I Must Scream, Am is sometimes referred to with masculine pronouns, similar to a merciless god sending down plagues in the Old Testament. In the Amazing Digital Circus, the final shot of the crew eating resembles Leonardo da Vinci's rendition of The Last Supper, with all of the characters eating on the same side of a long table. The meal is even given by Caine, the way Jesus offers a meal to his disciples. Both stories end with a scene of communal eating, but where Am seals the food in cans and gives the humans no way of opening them, Caine graciously gives the circus crew a well-prepared meal, equipped with silverware. Shifting away from I Have No Mouth and I Must Scream, I would like to talk about a personal highlight in the pilot for me, and that is the budding friendship between Ragatha and Pomni. Ragatha doesn't have a good time in the pilot, and Pomni happens to see this. Pomni is our camera, our eyes for Ragatha's suffering at the hands of an abstracted Kaufmo. A great developmental moment for Pomni comes through here. She's faced with a conflict: save Ragatha or save herself. From what we've seen until this point, Pomni's greatest desire is to leave, and despite this, she hesitates. Even though their time together has been limited, she possesses a kind heart. Ultimately, Pomni does choose to save herself, fearing the corruption taking hold of her. But Ragatha, the sweetheart that she is, doesn't blame her. She even goes as far to as apologize for how awful her experience has been, even when her speaking has become painful and slurred. When everything's fixed, Pomni finds herself at unease. She likely regrets not going to further lengths to save Ragatha now that she knows that she's okay. She also probably regrets losing track of her quest to find Caine, who had the ability to save her. I know the probablys in that statement make it sound less impactful, but I'm not the creator of the show. I'm just going off these facial expressions. Anyway, that's all I've got as far as analysis is concerned. Did I miss anything? Did I not spend enough time on your favorite character? Let me know in the comments. Here's to hoping that the Amazing Digital Circus gets more episodes in the future. Mahimeghan out. Peace!